Good afternoon. We are here today to present to you our research proposal. Let me just introduce myself. I'm Carlin Shady Garcia and my co-members are Marisa P. Pineda and Cindy D. De La Cruz. Our research proposal is entitled Drawing and Art Skills of Teacher Education Students. As we all know, drawing is the basis of all visual arts. However, sometimes we still like to challenge our creative minds to go further and become more skilled in our labor to love that what we call art. Yes, anyone and everyone can draw. Perhaps not as perfect as those skilled ones. Therefore, we are all an artist in all way. Drawing is a skill that doesn't mean drawing is a gift that only some people are born with the ability to do. Skill is something that can be taught and most importantly can be learned. If you want to create and be professional, you can. Anyone can become skilled. Don't ever say, I can draw. Because if you can imagine an idea, you can be learned a skill. Researchers have argued that drawing in the context of other visual practices has an important role to play with many higher education subjects, specifically with education students. Acquired learning in drawing and arts has something to do with about to share to future students. So we will now move to the statement of the problem that I will discuss to you. So as the researchers, we aim to know what the skills of teacher education students in Wesleyan University, Philippines. We also have to gather some information from the education students and their abilities. We think that our study have a great contribution for education students. From their answers, we can determine their skill and the interest of the students, and we can make some enhancement of their abilities. The next in this is the significance of the study. The significance of this study is to encourage self-expression and can build confidence as well as sense of individual identity. And it could also serve as a guide for them to have awareness in considering different skills, intelligence among students, and improve their skills. This study will also help the future researchers to their future studies. So now we will move to the conceptual framework. This study was based accordingly to the drawing and arts skills of teacher education students, evaluating for the students' abilities to do drawing and do artworks through the use of questionnaire checklists, and they were asked also to do some coloring activity. Now, let's proceed to the research design. Research design is likely to begin with questions or even just a collection of quantitative information. This type of research takes the form of close-ended questions which limits its ability to provide unique insights. The description is often to combine with comparison and contrast involving measurements, classification, interpretation, and evaluation, which was used in this study to evaluate the drawing skills and art abilities of students in the College of Education. For the researchers respondent is the teacher education students of Wesleyan University, Philippines, were in total of 50. So we will now move to the research instrument. Research instrument, as the researchers, we prepare some questions for the respondents to answer, and we use face-to-face interview to gather some data. These activity sheets where the respondents were asked to draw and color a drawing to validate their skills. And open-ended questions were also provided to be used in assessing very well their skills and determine their suggestions on how their skills in drawing and artworks will be enhanced and developed. Some of our questions are, what specific special skills you want to develop, and how do you think this development will cater you to be a good teacher? The answer is important to us because we need to know their comments and opinions that will help us to guide us in this study. So the next in this is the findings of the study, which will be discussed by Ms. Marisa P. Espineda.
Good day, ma'am, sir. We, the researchers, to be able to know the drawing and arts abilities of the teacher's education students, we use the questionnaire checklist, drawing and coloring activity as our instrument. So here are the findings of the conducted study. So let's begin with the assessed questionnaire checklist, which consists of drawing, coloring, and crafting skills of the respondents. In table number 2, this presents how the drawing skills of the respondents varied in many aspects. Of course, we use the highly skilled, little or barely skilled, and no skilled as our legend. So, table 2 shows that drawing animals rank 1 with 3 total percentage and verbally interpreted as skillful. Copy drawings of others rank 2 with 2.56 total percentage and verbally interpreted also as skillful. Body of nature rank 3 with 2.48 total percentage and verbally interpreted as barely skillful, and then followed by the rest. So it can be seen on the table that respondents has a need to develop more their drawing ability. Next table is the assessed coloring skills of the respondents. Familiar in the primary color, rank 1 with 2.88 total percentage and verbally interpreted as skillful. Using crayons, rank 2 with 2.58 total percentage and verbally interpreted as skillful. Using different medium colors and shading colors, rank 3 with 2.54 total percentage and has a verbal interpretation of skillful also. So, and then the rest are all interpreted as barely skillful. So, which means in terms of coloring skills of the respondents, even they are skillful, of course, they need more improvement. The last table for the questionnaire checklist is the assessed crafting skills of the respondents. So, as seen in the table number 4, cutting rank 1 with 2.62 total percentage and verbally interpreted as skillful. Folding rank 2 with 2.58 total percentage and verbally interpreted also as skillful. Enjoy doing crafts and designing rank 3 with 2.56 total percentage and verbally interpreted as skillful. And last is collage with 2.46 total percentage and verbally interpreted as barely skillful. So, it means on the 3 tables, there is no interpreted as. Now, let's proceed to the drawing and coloring activity, which respondents were asked to draw a face, a house, and a horse, and to color the flower with given limited and ordinary coloring materials. Let's see first the table 5, which is the assessed drawing face of the respondents. From our 50 total of respondents, for the rank 1, 50% or 25 respondents were assessed as barely skilled, while highly skilled has only 10% or 5 respondents and placed as rank 4. And for the assessed drawing horse of the respondents, Table 6 shows that barely skilled rank 1 with 19 respondents or 38%, while highly skilled has only 8 respondents or 16% and placed as rank 3. For the assessed drawing house of the respondents, barely skilled rank 1 again with 52% or 26 respondents, while highly skilled rank 4 with only 12% or 6 respondents. For the last table, this is the assessed coloring skills of the respondents. Skilled rank 1 with 50% or 25 respondents, while no skill rank 4 with only 2% or 1 respondent. Overall, we found out that there is no highly skilled in each given activity. And for the last part of our presentation, sample drawings of the respondents, conclusion, and recommendations will be discussed by Cindy de la Cruz.
Thank you, Ms. Marisa. Now let us proceed in sample drawing of the respondents as highly skilled. The researchers selected the drawing as highly skilled in drawing face because this made up the most beautiful and detailed figure of face such as eyes, nose, and lips. Drawing sample drew clearly. The picture facing front the respondent used different shading techniques and the most basic one-directional stroke. The researchers selected the drawing as highly skilled in drawing horse because sample drawing used little curved shading techniques to emphasize the hair of the horse. The researchers selected the drawing as highly skilled in drawing house because it drawn quick, realistic, and beautiful with the use of some shading techniques. Applying pressure to the pencil gives more emphasized line. The researchers selected the coloring flower as highly skilled because if you look closely to the sample, they used 3 varieties of colors, green, orange, and yellow. The respondent applied first the yellow color to the flower that served as base. Sample drawing as skilled. The researchers selected the drawing as skilled in drawing face because drawing made up with detailed figure of face such as eyes, nose, and lips. Drawing sample also picture with hair to improve the face figure and use circular stroke shading techniques with the hair. The researchers selected the drawing as skilled in drawing horse because drawing drawn figure like a horse and use a line sketching to figure out the horse. Although the highly skilled drawn a whole size image of horse while the skilled image drawn only face facing front, but they were both drawn skillfully. The researchers selected the drawing as skilled in drawing house because with the basic structure, door and window, in the 2-dimension and use smooth or blended shading mostly on the roof part. The researchers selected the drawing as skilled in coloring flower because by analyzing it produced 4 different colors by using only 2 colors, which orange and green. It looked amazingly different by using 5 variety of colors, blue, red, yellow, orange, and green. Sample drawing as little or beautiful skill. The researcher figured out the sample drawing of face as little because we're both made up of cartoon-like figure of face such as eyes, nose, and lips. The researcher figured out the sample drawing of horse as little because they use additional shade to emphasize every line of the horse and use single line only, but it still look like a horse. The researcher figured out the sample drawing of house as little because they use single straight line drawing in 1-dimension approach. The researcher figured out the sample coloring flower as little because they use only 2 variety of colors, green and red. Sample drawing as no skill at all. The researcher selected the drawing as no skill at all in drawing face because as we see, drawing sample we draw effortless by simply drawing the emoji face. The researcher selected as no skill at all in drawing horse because they can't visualize the image of horse in their mind, but they cannot actually draw the horse. The researcher selected as no skill at all in drawing house because examining evidence of creativity did not even put any details to the house such door, windows, and etc. The researcher selected as no skill at all in coloring flower because they use of only one color that's supposed to have at least 2 or more variety of colors. The colored samples show no evidence of creativity and there is only one of 50 respondents level as no skill. Now we're done in sample drawing of the respondents. Let us proceed in the conclusion and recommendation of the researchers. Based on the results and finding of the study, the researcher therefore conclude that the majority of students in College of Education who will become a future teacher need to develop their drawing skill and other creative abilities. They also share their willingness to learn and enhance their talent to help them in producing creative instructional materials and develop talents of their students in the futures. Recommendation. Based from the summary of findings and conclusion, the following recommendations were made. Number 1, drawing and art should be given importance not just as part or seasonal but as part of daily routine to students. Number 2, College of Education should provide an arts design and drawing gallery to appreciate, enhance, and continue their abilities in terms of drawing, coloring, and crafting. Number 3, consider drawing and arts work be part of interest group to be created in Wood College of Education. Number 4, school should provide an exclusive room for learners who want to exercise the fine motor skill. This also a way to relieve their stress and be a form of a therapy. Number 5, a similar study should be made in the wider scope to determine the skill and interest of the student in drawing and other arts work. That's all and thank you.